Hey guys, Welsknight here, and welcome back to another episode from the Hermitcraft server. In today's episode, I'm going to warn you in advance, it's going to be a talky one. By the time this video goes up, it appears that this little channel, my little channel, our little channel, will have grown to 100,000 subscribers. Or if I haven't quite hit it yet by the time this video goes live, I will be very close. I'm recording this on Sunday, so I'm only like 300 away as of the time of this recording, and the Hermit Pack hype, the modded Hermitcraft server, which, by the way, that's a thing. We now have a modded server, Hermit Pack. It's super awesome. Check it out if you haven't already. I'm having a blast. But anyway, so the hype for that is real, and I have gotten a very nice spike in growth over the last couple days, and I kind of knew that I was going to hit 100,000 because when you reach a certain point on YouTube, it becomes just kind of obvious that things are going to happen. You can predict things looking at numbers and statistics and stuff like that. You can just kind of learn to predict how it's going to happen and what things are going to happen and stuff like that. So I've kind of known for a while that I was going to hit 100K, but I didn't realize it was going to be this soon. I was thinking it was going to be more like later in the year. And on top of that, that didn't become obvious to me. Ooh, we might have to move this beacon. I was going to do some mining and stuff, but I think we may have to move our beacon. But anyway, I'm getting sidetracked. So, yeah, I've known for a little while that this was going to happen, but I didn't realize it was going to be this soon. And the only reason that I kind of know that's not like an arrogance thing. It's just like you look at statistics and you figure out, okay, I've been getting, you average certain numbers, and YouTube is in many ways a very statistics and numbers driven thing. So you kind of, for better or for worse, you kind of bury yourself in those numbers in your statistics, and you make predictions, and but anyway, I'm getting sidetracked about what I actually want to talk about in this episode. So yeah, 100,000 subscribers, crazy, absolutely insane for a random average guy who grew up in a town in Wisconsin that had a population in the hundreds of people, not thousands, not hundreds of thousands, hundreds. I grew up in a town that was itty bitty tiny. It was 1 square mile if you blinked you miss it. One of those kind of towns. Very rural. Farms all over the place. Things like that. Do I have any chests? I've got a couple chests. Do I have any chests? I meant to say, do I have any torches? And I really don't, but I can make some, so that's okay. We'll just do a little bit of that action and a little bit of that, and there we go. We now have torches to do mining and things with. Okay. So, anyway, what I want to talk about in today's episode is something kind of related to that 100,000 subscribers, and more importantly, how it relates to kind of following your dreams, and the value of hard work, and especially the value of hard work in relation to following your dreams. So, when I first started YouTube back in September of 2014, right? What year is it? 2016? I don't even know. I've been on YouTube for like 2 years. So yeah, September of 2014 is when I started my channel. When I started my channel, I certainly did not think that it would be a career, ever. I didn't even think it would be something that I would do in any sort of way that would be related to money. I did not think that it would be ever something that would be anything more than just a hobby. And even a hobby, I didn't think it would be one that, anyone would really watch. Because, I am one of many gaming channels in a giant ocean of gaming channels. As my dad always used to say, I am a very small fish in a very large pond. And I was back then, and I still am, to be honest. I'm still a very small fish in a very large pond. I've just grown to be a slightly bigger fish than I used to be. But when I started my channel, it was really something where it was just, it sounded like something kind of fun that I wanted to try and see kind of where it went. My channel started essentially out of boredom. Mrs. Welsknight, my wife, works a job that involves a lot of traveling. She does a lot of traveling around the country. She works in the dairy industry, and she does a lot of traveling in relation to that. She goes to a lot of state fairs and things like that. So, in around September or so of 2014, I was essentially doing a lot of nothing. I was very bored all the time because I was not doing anything really productive. I was going to school. I was in college at the time. I think I was at the time like a fourth year sophomore, basically. Changed my major a few times, things like that. But I was finding myself doing either things that weren't productive at all, or in some cases, things that were just negative. Sitting around watching way too much TV, or going to, the bar with my friends, or things that aren't necessarily bad in and of themselves, but are bad when you're just doing it all the time. When you're spending the majority of your free time doing those things, that's when they become bad. Nothing that was, unethical or immoral or illegal or anything like that, but just things that are meant to be done in moderation, and things that I was not doing in moderation. And I just had too much free time on my hands. So I said, I think I'm going to start a YouTube channel. Why not? I was playing games. I had been watching some Let's Plays and stuff on YouTube. And I was like, I could probably do that. That sounds like fun. So I started uploading videos, did a couple of random games here and there. I did a Lord of the Rings Online series, and I started playing Minecraft, which was a game that I had heard of and that had been around forever and ever. Well, not forever and ever, but for a long time. But I had never actually played myself. I had downloaded it once a couple years before on my old Xbox 360, played it for about 10 minutes, had no idea how anything worked, found it very boring and dull, got frustrated, never played it again. That was my former experience with Minecraft before my channel started. And I started watching some videos. I watched all of Paul Soares Jr.'s How to Survive and Thrive in Minecraft series to help me learn how to play it properly, which was a great idea, by the way. If you're trying to figure out how to get someone into Minecraft, honestly, get them to watch videos so they actually have an idea how the game works. It makes a big difference. But I watched all of that. I watched all of William Strife of the Yogscast. I watched all of his tutorial series. I forget what it was called. The Minecraft Guide or something like that. It was very, very well put together, explained everything. It was a little outdated by the time I watched it, but it definitely taught me the basics, and I finally figured out, how to craft a shovel and how to craft a pickaxe and how to mine for diamonds and all that kind of stuff. So I started playing Minecraft, and I played it on my channel a little bit, and the videos were horrible. They were absolutely terrible. I had no idea what I was doing when it came to audio editing or video editing or audio equipment. I was using a webcam as a microphone, which is less than ideal, but I improved as time went on. I spent a lot of time in the Let's Play subreddit learning about kind of the art of YouTube, quote unquote, learning about things like search engine optimization and how to make better videos and how to make your videos rank in searches and how to do all these various things that happen to really kind of help spur the... Why am I putting blocks back? That kind of defeats the purpose of mining like this, doesn't it? Wow. I am having a very special day. Anyway, so I spent a lot of time learning that, just absorbing every little bit of information I could get my hands on, trying things, experimenting with things. Hello, diamonds. This is what I've been looking for. Learning basically everything that I could possibly learn about how to be a better YouTuber. And I started watching a lot of Minecraft videos. I was doing a Minecraft series But I really was kind of interested in getting into the more kind of creative aspect of Minecraft, because like growing up, I was a huge fan of Legos. I still to this day have my giant bin tote thing of Legos that has quite literally thousands upon thousands of Lego blocks. Legos were a huge portion of my childhood, because my dad growing up was very anti-video game. And when I grew up, video games, I grew up when the console of the time was the original Nintendo. So, video games were definitely a thing, but they weren't like super, super, super mainstream where every kid had a console and of some sort, or was at least able to play games on their parents', smartphone or tablet. Tablets didn't exist when I was growing up. So I played video games at friends' houses. I played video games when I went over to my friend's house, and that was it. But my dad was very anti-video games, saw it as a waste of time, still does see it as a waste of time, to be entirely honest. And instead I did things that I played, when I was at home, I played in ways that used my imagination. I would pretend different things, or I would play with Legos, or I would read books, or I would do all sorts of creative things. I used to draw. Never got good at it, but I used to draw. I did a lot of musical stuff, things like that. Things to entertain me that use kind of the creative portions of your brain. And because of that, I've always been kind of a creative person when it comes to like things that interest me. I'm far more interested in things that are creative in nature rather than things that are like structured or practical necessarily. Like, I don't know. It's kind of hard to explain, but the long story short, the creative aspect of Minecraft really appealed to me, and I wanted to learn kind of how to build things in Minecraft and how to do things in Minecraft. So I started watching a lot of building videos. I watched a lot of BWO. I watched some Corrales. I watched a lot of Good Times with Scar, who, interestingly enough, I eventually became extremely good friends with. I would say he is one of my better, if not my best friend on YouTube. Very, very good friend of mine. We talk all the time, kind of off camera, just, get to jump in a Skype call and talk or whatever. But along the lines, I just kind of started picking things up. I learned how to do things. And I'm one of those people that if I'm going to do something, I'm going to go all out, and I'm probably going to go overboard with it. My dad is actually very much the same way. When he gets a new hobby, it becomes like everything in his life. He gets just engrossed in it. If he wants to get into photography, well, suddenly 3 days later, he's got a, very nice professional quality camera, and he's got everything, 10 lenses for it. That's just the way my dad has always been. And then he gets bored of that hobby, maybe a year later, and that stuff just gathers dust in a storage room. But basically, I kind of did that with YouTube. I got interested, and I got so interested that I decided to dive in headfirst and basically just do as much as I possibly could. So, soon I had, it didn't take long. It took maybe a month or two before I upgraded to a much, much nicer microphone than the CAD, or I upgraded to a CAD, U37? Yeah, a CAD U37, which is a USB microphone, runs about $50. It's a great microphone if you're just kind of starting out. Now I use something significantly nicer, but it's much later now. I upgraded to a better video software. I didn't use Windows Movie Maker to edit after a few months. I switched over to Sony Movie Studio 13, which is kind of a simplified version of Sony Vegas, which is a professional quality video editing software. And I learned just all sorts of little things. I made improvements as time went on. I improved my quality. I became a better commentator and entertainer. If you watch back through like my old videos, my commentary is just so awkward it's incredibly awkward because I had no idea who I was kind of as a content creator, as an entertainer, as a teacher. In many ways, I kind of look at myself on YouTube as a teacher. Because although I do a lot of like building and creative related stuff and some entertaining related stuff, I also do episodes like this one where I talk about kind of life lessons and, different things. And over time, I just got better. As with anything else, the more you practice, the more you do stuff, the better you get. And within maybe 3 months of me starting YouTube, I was putting in roughly the equivalent of like full-time job hours. I had a semi-professional level recording studio. I would call it like a professional amateur recording studio. I didn't have like crazy good stuff, but I definitely was set up a little bit better than your average bear. I wasn't recording with a microphone. I did have acoustic foam on my walls and, all that kind of different things. And I just continued to kind of dive in. And it kind of got to the point, actually, where I was growing. And I think it took me about 2 or 3 months. I think it took about 2 months for me to hit 100 subscribers. And about a month or two after that, when I was at a couple hundred, I think I was at like 300 maybe or something like that, is when I really kind of got to know Scar. And we started playing on a server together, and, I learned a lot from him just as far as building and stuff goes. We became good friends. But basically, my channel just kind of continued to grow, and I found myself just kind of being engrossed in my channel. It was all I could ever think about. It was all I ever really cared about. I mean, obviously, I still cared about my wife and stuff, but as far as just real life things, I didn't really have any interest in going to classes at my college anymore. I wasn't interested in it at all. It just it wasn't interesting to me. And YouTube just kind of became all that I cared about, which is not a good thing per se, but it also is a good thing, because I think if that hadn't happened, we wouldn't be having this conversation together today. And it went on like that for quite a while. I basically spent a lot of time just growing and learning things and continuing to improve. And eventually, I had a modded series. I did a series on FTB Departed, I believe it was, that did really well. Really, really well. It was a mod pack that kind of everybody played when it first came out, and I had some of the top rated videos in the searches, and I got a big spike in growth from that. I also got, there was also a couple other games that I got that did very, very well, that were non-Minecraft games, things that had been recommended to me by my friend Blitzkriegsler, who's probably someone who I owe a thank you to in a big way. He's another, he's actually, I think he's creeping up on 500,000 now or something like that, but when I first kind of started, he kind of took me under his wing, if you will, and taught me a lot of things about the way that YouTube works and behind the scenes stuff and SEO and all these other things that you kind of learn as you go. But anyway, I'm getting sidetracked again. So, right around summer or so of last year, Skeleton, can we not, please? I'm trying to have a talk with my friends. Go away. Leave. Stop. Leave. Thank you. So, around summer or so, summer of last year, I did very, very well. It was a great summer. The channel grew significantly, where to the point when I had been on YouTube for 1 year, I was at about 15,000 subscribers and pulling in a significant amount of traffic. I want to say I was at like 250,000 views per month or 500,000, or I don't really remember. I'd have to look back at the numbers, but either way, my channel was doing very, very well for a channel that had been on YouTube for such a relatively short amount of time. And then I kind of ran into a challenge, and that was that the Army, the U.S. Army, which I am a part of, and still am actually a part of to this day, said, hey, Welsknight, there's a special school you need to go to. There's a special training school. You need to go to this school and learn how to be an Army court reporter. And this school is 2 months long. And I was like, oh man, well, I gotta go. I don't really have a choice in the matter. And it's, from a military career perspective, it was a great school to go to. And honestly, from a regular career perspective, it's a great skill to go to because it's a skill that translates over into the civilian world in a huge way. But it was not a school that I'd be able to do YouTube for. So for the roughly month or so leading up to the school, I pre-recorded 2 months worth of videos, which was just insane. 2 months worth of daily videos, and it was a lot of work, and I was up until freakish hours of the night every day trying to get all that done, and somehow I managed to pull it off. Excuse me. And while I was gone, we had daily videos for 2 months of just pre-recorded content that I had recorded before I left. And I was pretty surprised that I had managed to do that, honestly. That was not something that I had been expecting. But the channel continued to grow. I took a big hit. There was definitely a decrease in growth from me being gone. That happens every time you leave. Even if you leave for like a week, you see noticeable changes. And then, it kind of steadied itself after I got back, and we kind of righted the ship, if you will, that had kind of capsized. But it went on, February, I got back around September, October. I want to say I got back around September of that year. And then after that, I continued kind of doing my thing, became friends with some of the members of Hermitcraft. I want to say right around that time was when, actually, I should probably say prior to me leaving for the school was when I became part of Kingdomcraft with Scar and Python and Iskall and a bunch of other people who are now hermits. So that's kind of how I got to know Python. I believe it was Iskall, saw my videos and thought they were good and invited me to join Kingdomcraft. And I was like, this sounds like a lot of fun. And we did that, and we all kind of became friends. And that's how I kind of initially met Python, which eventually led to me being on Hermitcraft, because I don't know the whole process of how I was approved to be on Hermitcraft per se, because that's, it happened obviously before I joined, but I'm sure that Python had a hand in it, especially just looking at the people who joined at the same time that I did. So, being on Kingdomcraft, I believe, was very, very much, in part, responsible for me being on Hermitcraft eventually. So, I got back, and Kingdomcraft had basically ended while I had been gone, and there was other things going on, but basically I just kind of made it work, continued doing my thing, and eventually got invited to Hermitcraft. And then came another challenge. Actually, that challenge came around the time that I was invited to Hermitcraft. I found out I was getting deployed. So, once again, the Army, doing things that are not helpful to trying to run a YouTube channel, saying, by the way, you're going to spend a year on active duty military orders, working 60 hours a week. You may go overseas, you may not. So I went and I basically ended up moving to Tennessee, or Kentucky, or Tennessee, basically. Excuse me. And did kind of my thing there, and once again, found a way to make it work. Started working 120 hours a week between YouTube and the Army just to basically keep my channel afloat. That was my goal for this year. My goal was not to grow to 100,000 subscribers or anything like that. My goal was actually to grow to 50,000. That was kind of my personal goal for 2016. But more than anything else, my goal was basically just to keep my channel alive through this deployment, which is going to be ending very soon. And, I continued to make it work, and I continued to do everything I possibly could to sort of chase my dream and make it a reality. And eventually I found out that I was getting deployed to Iraq, which was even more difficult as far as the YouTube channel goes, because I don't know if you've ever been to a military base in Iraq, but the internet is not exactly fantastic. It's really not. It's not even remotely suitable for uploading. I'm pretty sure it's all satellite internet. It's pretty terrible. But anyway, so did that for a while. and I was gone for about a month for that. And actually about a month and a half to 2 months if you count all the time that I had to spend preparing for that. But once again, made it work, continued to grow, continued to work ridiculous hours and chase my dreams. And now here we are, just a couple months after I got back. Actually about a month after I got back from Iraq. And we're looking at a silver play button, which is pretty fantastic. And the lesson here, because this isn't me just talking about my story on YouTube. There is a lesson here, and that lesson is, if you have a dream, if there's something that you really, truly, and deeply want, you will find a way to make it work. There are no excuses. You will not make excuses. If you do make excuses, you don't want it bad enough. I've always said the moment that you stop believing you can do something is the moment that it becomes true. So after a few months, once I realized that my channel was growing, and my channel was growing at a very, very crazy fast rate compared to most channels of my age, I kind of thought, and I was like, we kind of got something here. Maybe we could make something of this. So I went at it with everything I had, and I've put in countless hours and incredible amounts of time and effort and money, and I've sacrificed friendships. I've sacrificed any semblance of a social life whatsoever. But I wouldn't have it any other way. I've greatly enjoyed myself up to this point, and I'm very much looking forward to seeing what the future holds. And, it's really kind of a testament to how much of a difference hard work can make. And I'm not saying... The reason that I'm talking about this is not because I'm trying to brag or boast or say, I'm better than everybody else because I've put in so much effort and now we've hit that's not my point at all. My point is, if there's something that you really want, work hard to get it. Work very, very hard. I don't believe in luck, and I never have. I believe that you can create your own luck by working yourself to the bone until you finally accomplish your goals. There's always something you can be doing to bring yourself closer to your goals and your dreams, and that's really what it's all about. It's just kind of one of those things where, if you put in the time and you realize that you are not perfect and that there's always ways to improve, and you take the time to actually spend improving yourself and improving, not just yourself as a person, but as whatever it is you're trying to do, as an engineer or as a teacher or as a musician or as a content creator on YouTube or whatever, you can make it happen. It's just a matter of putting in the time and realizing that it does take time, and it does take a massive amount of hard work and determination. It's not something that happens overnight, and it never will be. But I do think that success tastes much sweeter when it is earned rather than given. There are a select few sets of circumstances on YouTube or in the world where you can be successful without actually having to do any work for it yourself. And I'm very happy to say that this YouTube channel has not been one of those cases. So I think that's pretty much all that I have to say on this topic. And I think we are pretty much out of time for this episode. I've been rambling for quite a while. I hope that you guys maybe learned something about me and my history, and maybe more importantly, learned a valuable life lesson about hard work and determination. Hopefully it motivates you to chase your own dreams and do what you enjoy and what you love rather than what is easy. But guys, as I said, I am out of time. So if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and leave me a comment. I do appreciate it, and it really helps out my channel. You can also find me on Facebook, Twitter, and Twitch. There are links in the video description below, so check that out as well. Other than that, guys, thanks for watching. Thanks for 100,000 subscribers, and I'll definitely see you next time.